Monday morning collecting event live here on YouTube as we sit here on our living room carpet, all kinds of collectible stuff as we continue to go through it. Be sure to subscribe. We will be having auctions and sales as well, but today we are going through just some boxes that I finally have some time to take a look at. Due to COVID, not currently working, taking time between each video to apply for jobs, trying to get back into that workforce, but in the meantime, plenty of free time on my hands. And if you see anything that you'd like to purchase, we do our transactions through PayPal, and you would send payment to Hawaiian Quarters LLC at yahoo.com, and make sure that there's a full description. We'd have conversations prior to that, emails. We can even do video chats to go over stuff if you want. If there's anything here that you think is really interesting, you'd like to be a part of it, say that needs to be in my collection, let me know, and we'll go from there. So we're going to go, got some random nickel rolls here. This one's intriguing me. It says keep 09D 20 buffs 82p. So we'll have to take a look at that and see what that means. Just random, no markings, no marking. And then in here, there's just a bunch of loose nickels. And I see a few quarters in here. Let's take a look at them. And are these, no, just some state quarters from 2019 and 2020. Or I guess they're the state park quarters. So those actually going to put those in change. Being out of work, I can't afford to hold on to coins just for the fun of it. I would definitely need to have a reason to. Here's the bicentennial quarter with the drummer boy on the back. I don't know if you, these used to be so available. They've made so many hundreds of millions of these. Now you can't really find them in change. The old design is disappearing. It's been since 1998 that this was being released. So there's a whole generation of people out there that didn't get the original Washington quarter design for their birth year. They've had the state quarters, they've had the state park quarters, the territory quarters, all the different commemoratives over the last, 22, 23 years now. When are these going to be collectible? Could be any day. This is a 1979 Denver. No big deal. You know, if you had a roll of them, they were uncirculated, something you could trade. I'll probably end up spending that as part of my purchase later today for ice cream. I'm telling my wife I'd get her some ice cream for a while. I just haven't done it. Surprise her later today. So in here, here's just some random coins put aside. Well, here's a 1982. And the 82s, just like the dimes and the nickels, are worth holding on to. Specifically the Philadelphia Mint. This is the 82 Denver. It's in good condition, so I'm actually going to continue to hold on to that one. Here's a 1982, and this one is the Philadelphia Mint. So now this is one of the key dates in the series, is a high-grade 1982 Philadelphia quarter, like with the 83s as well. Many reasons. One, no mint sets produced. You'd have to go to the U.S. Mint visitors gift shop to buy a souvenir set those years. Also, this is at the height of video games. So in the early 80s through the early mid 80s, quarters pushed into vending machines, video games. Many of them were worn way down to the point where they're hard to recognize, damaged, cut up, whatever. Here's an 82 Denver that's kind of worn. It would be one of those, but I'm still going to hold on to it because it's 82. And then here, this is the, I believe it's the Marshall Islands. Actually, I'm going to put some glasses on. I don't know why I keep taking them off. This is the Northern Marana Islands quarter from 2009. And much like every 2009 coin, I recommend holding on to it. They were, harder to get. It was the end of the state quarter series, and they're like, oh my gosh, what do we do? So they came out with the DC and the territory coins. I recommend holding on to all those as well. So go through real quick, get a couple more quarters here. Start out as a nickel talk, now it's a quarter talk. 87D can go into change, 74D. All right, we almost have enough for a big thing of ice cream that we can actually share. That'd be great. All right, just some random coins here in this pile. Here's a 45S. In our other video, we had a real shiny one that we found at a bankroll in Salt Lake City. This one is just a regular circulated 45S. And I'll put it between some other coins. So when you're going through rolls, if you see that dark side of a coin there as you're pulling the coins out of a roll, there's a good chance it's one of the silver coins, or it's just been really abused, dirty, painted, moldy, whatever. So, but this one is one of the silver ones. 40 coins is roughly 2 ounces of silver. So 40 coins is worth about $50, which means this is probably worth $1.15 in silver value just for that coin. So going through rolls and boxes to find these is worthwhile because there's actually a premium to them. So any silver nickels that you can find, 42 through 45, with a large mint mark on the reverse, those are silver. That over there. You'll find buffalo nickels, the original buffalo nickels, in circulation in rolls, but typically they don't have a date. So this one's a dateless buffalo nickel, and there's no mint mark on the back. The mint mark would be under where it says 5 cents under the bison, and the date is right under the Native American gentleman on the front. And so many of them, because it was a raised date, they wear off real quick. You'll still find these in circulation. They're fun. I've seen belt buckles and other stuff made out of dateless buffalo nickels, so I always set them aside. Another quarter. This one is a 83 Philadelphia, it looks like. No, 83 Denver. Now it's got some corrosion on it, and it's not really in great shape, so I'm actually going to spend that one as well. Now we're making money. All right, in here, 59 Philadelphia. Those are harder to find. 82 Denver, really nice. 2010 P. A couple of dimes in here. There's 82s, 41, 58, 41, 52, 47, 1954. So this would have been a box that I went through and just probably ran out of time and didn't have the rolls to put everything, the wrappers to put them in rolls. Here's a 2019 D, so I know it was a couple years ago, or maybe as early in 2019 that I got these. Let's see, 74s, 83s, or I could have just tossed that in at any point along the way. There's a few Canadians in here, another 19, there's no 6. One time I was in Las Vegas, and I went to the bank, and I wanted to buy some rolls. It was in early 2018. I was going to just go through some rolls and put them in the car, drove back to, man, where were we living? Must have been in Utah back then. And when we got home, went through the boxes, and there was a solid boxes of uncirculated 2018 Denver nickels. Exciting or not, put them out on eBay, blew them out real quick. They went really fast. I think it was in February of 2018. So drove all the way back to Las Vegas to get more out of that same bank, and ended up getting a bunch of 2007s uncirculated and a bunch of circulated stuff. So it was a one-time hit, and it was fun. Made a few dollars on it. Was able to keep a bunch for myself. Here's a 43S silver. Just put in randomly pulled out of the roll. It's a bunch of 09s in here. Here's a dime from 1968 Philadelphia with some corrosion on it. Dimes are fun because you can get a lot into a small space, and it doesn't take up space, but you certainly have some value. There's an 82. I'm going to put the 68 back in circulation. A few wheat cents. So this looks like a box that was just sitting out. As I would collect, I just put stuff into it. Here's a foreign coin. It's a 5 pence. And it doesn't say which country, but it's 1998. Some more dimes, 2010, 85. No rhyme or reason. Could have just been a bucket I threw change into. 85, 71. Another 85. Unless I was on a binge to collect 85s. There's an 18 Philadelphia. Here's a nice 1954S. Okay. 1954 San Francisco nickel was the last year of the reverse San Francisco coins for the Jefferson nickel series. There is a variety of the S over D. So they had a D mint mark, and they needed some more S's, so they actually put the S mint mark over the D. They tried to grind it down. And so that's a rare variety. This one is not that. It's just a regular 54S. But I check all of them. I save all of them just in case. Had a few in my life. I think I found 2 my entire life of all the thousands and thousands of nickels. I buy them by the rolls when I can, or if I find in collections. So that's just random stuff that was in that box. That was pretty cool. Now let's go to this roll that's marked 1982, 20 buffs, keep, and 09D. So in the previous video, we had almost a full roll of 09Ds that we pulled out of some circulation rolls. Let's find out what we have in here. When you have a tight roll, many times you take the back of the Sharpie, you put it in there. It's not going to mark the coins, hurt the coins, and they come out slowly, and you're able to control them that way. Just make sure you don't use the side there with the marker on it, because then you damage the coin. But that's one way to get coins out if they won't come out real easy. All right, 46, 40, 18, 15, 19, 03. So there's really no rhyme or reason yet other than just coins I set aside. 1942 Philadelphia. So 42 through 45, there's silver nickels. This is the regular issue 1942 Philadelphia. There's no large P above the building, and there's no mint mark here on the side of the building. That's the two places where the mint marks would be back in the day. But this is the last of the regular issue nickels until after the war. So as an example, oh, here's a Buffalo nickel with a date on it, 1920, Philadelphia. So this would have been found in a roll, 1920, pretty well worn, but I can see the 9, the 2, and the 0. And then there's no mint mark here on the back side. So that's pretty cool. So maybe that's what it meant by 20 buff. That's exactly what it meant by 20 buff, 1920 Buffalo nickel. So not 20 Buffalo nickels in here, but one from 1920. 1947 S, really high grade. 91, 1971 Philadelphia. 2004. So mix mash. So it wasn't 20 Buffalo nickels. It was a 1920 Buffalo nickel. Still pretty cool. So this then, you have to count out 40 coins, 5 at a time. There's 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. There's 35 and 40. And I'll show you what I talked about. It's either this video or the previous video on how whatever I was born with the perfect size hand for doing nickel rolls. So that's 40 coins in a roll lined up. If I was to buy a piece of equipment to do it, it'd probably be shaped just like that as well. You take your nickel roll, make sure you have a space for it, and kind of at an angle, drop a bunch in there, tap them down to make sure they line up nice on the bottom. And you do the rest of the roll. And I've learned to do this so when I return to the bank all the coals and the stuff I don't want out of boxes, it doesn't take forever to re-roll them. I can use the same wrappers and then crimp it down. So I'm back to my full roll there. I'll put it over here with the others that I have set aside. We'll do one more of these partial rolls. Just see what we have. This is stuff that's been collected just out of rolls. You can find any kind of date within the series, 1938 through 2020 right now. The 21s will be out in a few months. And these are just stuff that I've set aside. These will be part of the collections that we sell. There's some 82Ps, 82D, 83D, 1951. Here's a nice coin. Nice in the sense that it's a harder date to find. 51s are not out there everywhere. After the 50 was so collectible, I'm assuming that the 51s were hoarded as well. So it's probably a very fine or fine condition coin. There's no mint mark on it, but still you need to have it to fill out a set. And so that's one that I would have pulled out of a roll. Here's a 2010, 76 Denver, 71 Denver, 69, 79, just all over the board here. Nothing spectacular. 2010s, random stuff. 2006 uncirculated. 2013 Philadelphia. Some of the middle teens, and again, this could just be totally a West Coast thing. The Philadelphia 12, 13, and 14, I find very difficult to locate in circulation in good condition. They may be so available on the East Coast or the eastern side of the Midwest, and I'm not aware of that. I just know in my experience, it's been difficult locating them. So those are just some random nickel rolls. Let's see what else we have here. We got one more box. We still got some time here. We're only 13 minutes in. So, okay, here's the Byzantine Empire Justin II, 13th century coin. In one of the earlier videos, we found some information on some older ancient coins. I don't know if this was it. Let's take a look. These might have been for this. This is the King of Cappadocia, silver drachma. That's not it. And this one was under Rome, Egypt under Rome, colonial Alexander. So this is not it. But this is an old Byzantine Empire, Justin II, 13th century. Had a $10 price tag on it. This would have probably been purchased in the early 80s. Don't know if it's worth more or less at this point. I've got a couple of coins from Germany. It says not for sale on them. I'm sure we're just holding on to them for some reason. These might have been something that one of my relatives had brought back after visiting Europe in the mid-40s. And then really cool, here we go. Let's see. So way back in the day, this is a box from when I would do coin shows, wow, look, wheat cents just 3 cents each. The steel cents are 5 cents each. So now you can take a look at what the value is. I was probably charging more than everyone else at 3 cents, or probably at 2 cents at the time, but just trying to make some money. Now this has a tag in it that says Canadian, or tag written. Let's take a look and see what we have here. We have some Canadian coinage. There's a couple of quarters, 69, 79. A loonie from 1987, the loonie dollar. There's a Canadian quarter, 77, an American quarter, 83 Philadelphia. That'll be collectible over there. And a Canadian nickel and a Canadian penny. So just random Canadian stuff. Then a small roll of nickels in here. I would set them aside this way for some reason. And so take a quick peek and see what that reason would have been. Sometimes it's a partial roll of a specific date. Sometimes they're uncirculated. Sometimes it's just all that I found, and I just had to put them somewhere. These appear to be uncirculated 1954 S. So this would have been part of a roll that I would have purchased and doing a search on it. So these are the remainders of that roll. So I'll put them back in there. They're nicely toned. It's one of the older wrappers, 1954 S nickels. So there's, looks like maybe there's 10 or 12 of those still in there. That was fun. I can go through that another time. And then here, random things. Look at that. Alaskan pins. What is that? Something in a foreign language. Here's an Arizona quarter, state quarter from 2008. Here's a 1992 nickel, a 1982 half dollar, and a silver Canadian dime from, what year would this be? So Canadian silver has different silver content. This is 1962, but it's still silver. These are some of the tokens that were given out for admission to the Midnight Sun baseball game up in Fairbanks every June, celebrating the solstice. And this is 2003, 2002, 1998, 98, 96, 98, and 97. So a variety of dates. Always fun to have a variety of dates. There's another 2003 and a 99 that's still in a folder. This is a 25 cents from Barbados in 1981. So Barbados, 25 cents, probably found in a roll of American quarters. Some more Alaskan pins. This is Fairbanks, Alaska, the moose design. If you know anything about those or those values, let me know. Some more Midnight Sun Game tokens, 2001, 95, 2003, good date run there. This here is the Purchase from Russia Centennial, 1867 to 1967 commemorative coin, A67. This is the Pioneer Memorial Park commemorative coin from Fairbanks, Alaska. If you wonder why there's so much Alaska stuff, the name Steve from Alaska, that's where I grew up. Alaska Gold Panner pin. Very cool. Some more quarters in here. Let's see if we have some money for ice cream or something to save. Northern Mariana Islands, we'll save that one. That's what 2009. There's a Hawaii quarter. And 1992, just a regular quarter. That'll go into circulation. There's a Texas quarter. Big, great state of Texas. Big star. And of course, wow, very nice Northern Mariana Islands. Here we have the Hawaiian Islands. Hawaiian Quarters LLC at yahoo.com is our email. And this is why Hawaiian Quarters was collecting those. In-laws and family come from Hawaii. So I grew up in Alaska. My wife is from Hawaii. We live in Arizona. Figure that one out. All right, more stuff. Hawaiian Quarters, 82 Philadelphia quarter. This is just odds and ends that I would have put aside. Another Alaska Gold Panner pin. Some more Fairbanks pins. This is a different Alaska pin. This is the Bat-a-thon pin. Daily News Miner Bat-a-thon. So if you're an Alaskana collector, that's a Daily News Miner Bat-a-thon pin. There's some foreign coins, some pennies and holders. Let's see what else we got here. We have a Puerto Rico. That's part of the territory's quarters of 2009. This is a boardwalk, or the Boardwalk Indoor Amusement Park. It doesn't say where. It's just a giving token, really no value. Another $50, 1978D. For a while, that was one of the key dates in the series. Around here, throw some stuff around. What else have we got here? This is a 100 something. It looks Greek. 1932 or 1972. I have to get the magnifying glass out. 1992. So this is, to me, it looks Greek. Emperor Alexander, and it's 100 whatever their money is. It's 100 of them. Their economy has been up and down over the years, so who knows what that thing's worth. Another quarter, 92. We'll spend that one. A couple more of these. What do we got here? Tokens. This is the Alaska Prospector Baseball Club, 1995. And sometimes these in Alaska, they'd actually put gold on them. A little gold nugget or something. I've seen all kinds of stuff. But it's highly collectible. Some early coinage from Alaska. Some early things. Yep, there's a piece of gold right there in the bag. I'm going to seal that right back up. And then this one as well doesn't have the gold on it. So one with a flake of gold and one without. United States Open Amateur Baseball, 1985 tournament. So the U.S. Open tournament, 1985. I remember that. Actually on that road trip. Another Fairbanks North Star Borough bus token. Good for one fare. Actually rode that bus. Probably used those tokens. That was probably out of my pocket. Left over one time. Here's a 1999 Midnight Sun baseball game. Two more things. We'll wrap up this video. See what else we have. Odds and ends. We have a paper clip. Those are always fun to collect. 2009 Philadelphia dime in smoking condition. Smoking meaning very shiny and very cool. Here's a 2007 Canadian nickel. No value. 89D. Here's a 1973 dime. We'll spend that one. 1992. We'll spend that one. 1995. Another spender. Put them back into circulation. Some shiny pennies. 92 nickel, really good condition. We'll keep that one. 82 nickel dime. We'll keep that. 83. We'll keep that. 78, nice condition. 75, we can spend. 1980, we'll spend. Almost to a 2-quart ice cream. Missing some Bluebell from Texas, so I'll go out and get one of those. They're like $8 here in Scottsdale. 98s, no silver, nickels here, just random stuff. 87, 68, stuff that we were saving when we went through our rolls. Another bus token, some more Canadian. 1980 dime, 68, 68 Philadelphia, 69 Philadelphia dimes, a little lower mintage. Just not into dimes for whatever reason. Never have been. The 2009s I'll keep. 82 and 83s I'll keep. But short of that, don't really, unless they're silver, don't really have a interest in them, which is strange. I mean, if I could make a buck on it, I'd try to do it, but just have never gotten those dimes. I did find a few silver dimes in circulation here and there. All right, well, that's it for this group of coins that we just went through, and all the tokens and collectible stuff and Alaska stuff, and one silver Canadian dime here, and some pins, and prospector things, and stuff out of Fairbanks, Alaska. Goes back into the box here that we used to sell wheat pennies for 3 cents a piece out of. Put that over here, and then finally, looks like I bought this at an auction. Western Airlines wings. So Western Airlines, defunct, no longer around, absorbed, and I don't know the whole story, who they became, who they merged with, who they were bought by. But I do have one final story before we hang up. Moved to Arizona in 1982 out of Fairbanks, Alaska, and I believe it was the 25th anniversary of Western Airlines serving Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. And so they had a special $25 each way for round trip anywhere that they flew direct flight out of Phoenix. So after spending some time up in Colorado over the several years and having relatives there and friends there, I decided to jump on a plane with no luggage, no plans, no hotel reservation, $50 in my pocket for the tickets plus tax. And I flew up to Denver, went to Boulder, walked around, popped in on some people that I knew. I'd met through college and through some events and things. And I remember it was just a random trip. one of the first of many in my life, after being isolated in Alaska, my wife being isolated in Hawaii with not much to do as far as travel. We take full advantage every time we can. Anyway, Western Airlines, thank you for that round trip. I ended up being probably more scared than I've ever been in my life, getting stuck in the wrong part of town. Eventually getting out of there, nothing happened, but that's a cool memory right there. That's probably why I bought them. Lot number 0303. Don't know if that meant 2003, lot number 3 or whatever. But those are collectibles as well. It's why I collect. It's what I do. It's fun. It's a time killer. It gives you something to do that's constructive. You might find something of value, something I can leave to the kids, something I can sell or do stuff. And the next time there's a pandemic, think of the things I can go through again. Thanks for joining us. Please subscribe. Lots of stuff to go through still. Just boxes and boxes of things over the years. We've done a few of the videos before on the records. Still have tons of records to go through. Irish Eyes by Hank Locken, Connie Cato, Lincoln Archery, Dawn by the Four Seasons, and just randomly picked out of there. So we have tons of records, tons of everything. Stay tuned, subscribe. Thanks for joining us. Be safe and be healthy. We'll see you next time. Steve from Alaska signing off from Scottsdale, Arizona.